Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I am Lover's Lens.
And I'm Morik. Today we're taking a journey into a dreamy, divine world. It's time to talk about Maiden's Bloom.
We are absolutely honored to have the creator of this incredibly heartfelt Otome with us today. Before we dive in, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, I'm Panacea. That's my pen name online, and not really much to say about me. I just like romance and Otomes, and I wanted to make my own, so I gave it a shot. And yes.
So you did your game entirely on your own? Are you a solo dev?
I guess technically that's what you would call me, but that's too fancy of a title for me, honestly. I just like to write stories, and yeah, so.
Do you draw?
Yeah, I will say, I didn't do the art myself. I commissioned very talented artists to help me. And I actually ended up making good friends with a couple of them. It's been such a fun and wonderful experience with this. You know, I've been having a great time with it.
The whole
Maybe-
community is quite friendly.
Yeah.
When it surrounds Otome games.
Maybe we can give them a little shout out, if you wanna.
Yes, shout out to Akaneko. I hope that you're doing good, girl. She haven't been doing good, so I want you to have a smile. And T, I love it. I love your beautiful, dreamy artwork. I've been gushing over it enough, so you heard me babble on about that enough, but thank you.
Thank you for that.
They did an amazing job. Like the sprites are so pretty and the G's as well. So good job, everyone. Thank you for doing this.
So, for anyone new to Maiden's Bloom, can you give us a summary of the game?
Well, it centers around Rosea, and she lives in a land called Elysium, which was created by a god, a deity, supernatural being called Amaranthus, who created the world. And her society, which is super highly religious, they worship this god. And so in a few days, she's going to become a Bell Maiden, because she was born into a bloodline that was blessed by this god, you see. And so she has magical blood inside of her that she can use to bless and cultivate bell flowers, which were created by Amaranthus. And these flowers, they can create all kinds of healing miracles, and the society loves them. They're like a symbol of their faith. And the society runs on these flowers. So she has to make sure that she can cultivate them successfully. So she has to do a lot of spiritual training and whatnot. So as I mentioned, her bell rite, which is basically a ceremony where she blesses the flowers, is coming up soon. And yeah, she's not quite ready for this. She has a lot of doubts. She doesn't think she'll be able to do as well as her mother before her did. So she's dealing with that. But there's also a different religion in this world, another major religion called the Dianthus faith. And so the Bellflower faith, which is her religion, and the Dianthus faith, they don't really get along very well at all. They had a very violent history, and it's only gotten worse over time. And after their two gods left the realm, the god of the Dianthus faith being called Calendula, they both left the realm, and that really shook the people. It kind of broke them on the inside. They feel lost, and there's a lot of despair. And the two groups, they hate each other, and it's only gotten worse, and they kind of blame each other for why they left. It's a mess. But Rosea has to somehow, rise up and kind of guide her people and be security for them. And so she's just trying to navigate this divided world, and she meets different people, different love interests that kind of challenge her limited view of the world. And it's a story of her growth, navigating, having her bubble burst, basically. So yeah, that's her adventure, and we'll see where it goes.
So, she's basically been living a sheltered life until now, and now she is also being exposed to this world as we
Yes,
are.
exactly.
Sounds overwhelming. So I must say that I really love this flowery, magical, whimsical premise, but also there's so much beauty in that tension between duty and doubt, between divine purpose and personal freedom. What inspired you to explore religious conflict and unravel fate as a central theme?
Oh, this is kind of a loaded question. I'll try not to go too into it, but enough so you can get where I'm coming from with it. I'm not religious myself, but I come from a very highly religious family, so I've always been exposed to it. And I've always been fascinated by, you know, how these belief systems can inspire so much hope and love and community in people. But, at the same time, just being real, it's a lot of division and a lot of pain, and families get torn apart over it. It's not pretty, all right? And people that are outside of these religious systems, like, they get not treated the nicest, And I just wanted to explore some of that, just with like a cutesy fantasy twist, but still being real about it, So we're gonna dive deep into some of these issues, But it has to be cutesy too.
Yes,
So
of
that's why we
course.
added flowers.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I'm not a religious person myself. I have my own faith, I guess. Like, I believe in the universe and the nature and stuff like that. So this flower team really came close to me. But I can see why faith is important for the society. I mean, we know history. Faith saved religion, actually saved whole nations, so it's quite important. And I really like the way you export that theme in your game. Like, it doesn't feel heavy, but at the same time you can see how important it is.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because it has been difficult to find that balance where, you're being real, but you don't want to be too heavy with it. So I had to work on that balance of, light and fluffy and being, again, real, So I appreciate that.
You did great, yeah.
Yeah, while we're on the topic, so I love how immersive the world feels, and the dynamic between the Bellflower fate and the Dianthus fate is quite nuanced, honestly. How did you develop the religious world building itself? Did you have any real world influences, or maybe from mythology?
Oh, okay, this is I'm probably gonna sound weird saying this, but I'm just being honest. So yeah, obviously I did have some influences, from my own experience in the outside world and with my family, and just things that I study because I'm just genuinely interested in it. With different types of religions and how they came to be and whatnot. But as for the Dianthus and Bellflower faiths, they're their own thing. This world is its own living, breathing world inside of my mind, and they tell me their story, I try not to influence what they tell me, in my mind. It probably sounds really weird, but I just let them tell the story, and then I write it out. They're living their lives in this world, and they tell me what's going on. I observe it and write it.
No, it doesn't sound weird because I have the exact same approach to writing when I do my D&D games for my characters. I just make up the personality and then write in according to what the characters would do with those personalities.
Yes.
I don't think ahead. I don't plan ahead so much.
It's completely normal. That's what he's saying, basically. Like, every person who is into role-playing, for example, or D&D or whatever, it's always the character talking. It's not us. They just start living in our hearts, and they as
Thank
weird as,
you. Yes.
Yeah, they're just taking control over our bodies. Okay, that's okay.
Possession.
It's not a weird
It's possession.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So it's time for my favorite part. It's time to chat about the characters. Let's start with our girl Rosea. She's very sweet, gentle, and a little bit unsure of herself, but she got this powerful undercurrent of determination. She's not your typical strong woman trope. She's soft and she's allowed to be. What was important to you when writing her character?
Oh, I could write a whole novel about this. Okay. Basically, it comes from just needing to be seen or felt seen. I grew up in the 90s, and I love the shows and movies back then, but yeah, you can never find a black girl in there that was soft and sweet, and not to say they weren't kind, but it always had this strong edge to them, the sassy type, and the sporty type, and all of that is fine, but it's like that's not the only type of personality a black girl has, like where's the quirky types, where's the shy types, where they at? We exist, we're a thing, and I didn't have any of that. I didn't get to see myself at all reflected on the screen, and that kind of messes with your sense of self. It's not good. It's not okay for growth, because you start to feel like, do I exist? Is something wrong with me? Why am I acting like this? So it's like, no, I think the only black girl that in any way kind of reflected my personality was Susie from Rugrats on Nickelodeon or something, and that's it. And I didn't get to have the black girl Disney princess. The first time they had a black princess was like,
It's Tiana. It's Tiana.
yes, and I was grown by then, so it's like, come on now. So yeah, it's very important that, especially as a child, that the black girls get to see different personalities of black girl. And so it's like, if I'm in a position where I can, create something that can be a change to this, then go ahead and do it. So I made sure that Rosea was portrayed in a way where she wasn't the super fighty, let me go pick up my sword, girl bossy type, which is pretty much all I see now in media. And I'm just so exhausted with it. Stop. I want my pretty princess types with the dresses and the tea party.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where my tea
Man.
parties at? I want to see them get swept away by the knight in shining armor. I love that so much. It just touches me. I want that. So there we go. There's Rosea.
People that
Trust me.
constantly...
Sorry.
No, bro.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, people that are constantly represented in media don't realize how well it feels when how important it is to be actually represented, because you don't have that deficit if you are the one that's constantly on the TV and the books and whatever. So it's so nice to actually see people put effort into having more representation in our media.
Right. Yes. I don't understand the mentality of thinking like, oh, it doesn't matter what's represented. I don't understand where that comes from. No, it actually does matter a lot.
It does.
Because it shapes your perception of other people you've never met. And if all you ever see is, oh, these group of people are just into basketball, it's like, huh? Come on now. Really?
Yes. It's
We can do
actually
better.
something
Yeah.
that has affected us as people from the Balkans, because every movie, we are the thugs.
Yeah.
We are the bad guys.
No, see,
And
That's-
also
We're-
Balkan women, by the way, they're always strong. Just the way you're portraying black girls is the same with us. You should be a strong woman. Hold my earrings. Go get the job done. Yes, I can do whatever. That's fine. But sometimes I want to feel like a princess.
yes.
I want to be taken care of. I can do everything. That's fine. But it's the whole
Mentality of
community
it.
mentality, yeah, that just puts you in this role, and you have to be very strong. You're not allowed to be emotional. You're not allowed to be gentle, because you
Or ask
need
for
to
help.
get the stuff done. Yes, like sometimes I even ask for help, even if I don't need it, like just to
Make a
do-
point.
yes, hello, I am a woman. Open my door. That's fine.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Basic stuff,
Yeah, like at this point in our evolution, we got to the point that we're equal, kind of. So we don't need to push more. I feel like it. It's just my personal opinion. It's just
Let
just
people
the-
be people.
yes. Let people be people. Let people be emotional. Let people be vulnerable if they can. It's not only for women, it's for men as well.
Yes.
That's completely fine. Let people be people.
Just let humans be humans. Don't think of
Yes.
other humans as superhuman that can handle everything, or other humans as in like subhuman that are just not worth your time. It's just humans, okay? We all have
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
We all gonna die at the end of the day, so we might as well get along.
So you kind of answered the question that I was planning to ask already, so I think I'll pass it on back to Lover's Lens.
Yeah. Actually, not really. The question is quite
Yes.
different.
Uh,
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, might as well ask it. Considering all we discussed about the importance of representation, what has been the reaction from players who finally seen someone like Rosea in this role?
It's been wonderful seeing that. Because they're kind of just echoing what I've always felt, that it's like there's a sense of we aren't allowed to be loved or cared for, or we're not worthy of it, or we're too strong. You don't need, and I've seen that there's this sense of happiness, like finally, like I wanna see somebody that looks like me getting wrapped up in a strong man's arms and taken care of. There has been a sense of, yes, thank you. Can we have more of this? And I know with my artist T, my favorite drawing that she did is the one where Zinnia holding Rosea, comforting her during her purification ceremony. I made sure to tell her to make it look like he cares about her and is concerned about her and that he's there to protect her, and he's one of those types that are a bit rough around the edges, but put that aside to care for her and hold her in that way. That was very intentional, because we need to see that. We need to see a Black female being held with care, because there's so much violence in our history and it's traumatic. So it could be healing to see something like that. So I'm going to keep that theme very strongly throughout the entirety of the game.
That's
Must be
beautiful.
very inspiring to have people recognizing your mission in a way. So we talked about our main character, and now for the boys, I have Effie from Hunger Games in my head saying that. So let's talk about Judd Black Prince. There's this magnetic, mysterious energy around him, like he's tied to Rosea on a so deep level. What's the history between them, and what makes their relationship so compelling?
If I went into that, I would give away the whole story.
So a bit too much in spoiler territory.
Yeah, because that's like the entire story, figuring out what that mystery is. So I can't really say anything on that.
Maybe just a little outline, maybe something that
A hint.
a hint gets explored in the demo.
Okay, just think about the two of them being higher powers. There's a lot more to them than. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. Actually.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna continue torturing you a little bit because I have this guess theory. We
Okay.
can always edit it out if you wanna, so we don't spoil it. But I just wanna ask, okay? So it feels like both of them, they're like the reborn gods, are they?
I've heard this theory, and there's some merit to it, but I'll keep it at that because I can't just explain it on the spot either. So yeah.
Understandable.
Okay. We're gonna play the full game and we're gonna see.
We're
for
gonna find out
ourselves.
for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so from one love interest to the other, I wanted to ask about the childhood friend. Let me see if I can pronounce it correctly from the first attempt. Gladiolus.
Yes.
Great job.
Give me 5 stars.
Yes.
He's so warm and kind, and his goals to become a bishop really tie into Rosea's own spiritual journey. What's special about their dynamic?
Again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away, but Since they grew up together, they really do rub off on each other. They learn from each other, and their personalities are rubbed off on each other too. And I just think they're super cute, especially because they're just so much like each other. Uh, it's hard to say because I don't want to give anything away. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay,
No, it's
okay.
fine.
I just wanted to say that the childhood friend stereotype is an absolute must for Otome games. It's the support we
Yes.
need for the main
I had to do
character.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So I get why he's there, and it's nice. And he has such a golden retriever energy, by the way.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, hippie, and holding her hand, and like, I need some help. I'm gonna help you out. Don't worry, I'm gonna bring you sweets. It's fine. So he's such a nice
and there's
support.
a reason behind that.
We will find out, as we said. So now my absolute favorite, just the perfect man. It's Clemantis. He's such a fun contrast, clever and totally fearless. He brings chaos into Rosea's very structured world. What kind of dynamic were you going for there? And how does he challenge Rosea's ideas about what's right?
Oh yeah, I love writing on Clem, because like he's not my favorite, but I I just love him so much because he's helped me personally deal with a lot of issues that I've been struggling with, because basically he's there to burst Rosea's bubble. You know, this bubble that she's been born and raised into, not her fault, but she's in that bubble. And he's there to help her navigate the real world, you know, the reality of what's going on. And he has to do it in a way where it's sympathetic, you know, because he understands that, yeah, you didn't ask to be, you know, put in this bubble. You just are. You don't really understand any of this. So I can't really be unkind to you. But, you know, it's frustrating because, yeah, this messed up stuff is going on and you just don't know about it, you know? And my people need help, you know, and you just oblivious to all of this, you know. So he's there to help her navigate her obliviousness, you know, in a kind, sympathetic way, which I think is important. I think it's good commentary on that, because there's a lot of people in societies that don't know the struggles of others, even though like they could be your next door neighbor, you know. So it was just some commentary on that. And another point about Clem, you know, his little bird, his bird companion there, that's a tribute to my deceased budgies that I had for
Oh.
nearly, 10 years. I miss them. Yeah. So I put, you know, a little budgie companion for him to have in there to kind of keep their spirit alive. So yeah, Clem is special. We love him.
That's great. So he's basically kind of like her guide to how the world actually works for her
Yes.
to understand it better.
I feel like he's very, very important for her character development. Like, she starts asking questions because of him. I love that. Like, I love that kind of characters that just come and shift your world.
Yeah, the
Like your
first
entire
time.
foundation.
Yeah.
Yes. Like the first time she actually started, well, in the game, I first noticed her actually starting to oppose what she's being told when I chose to jump in and stop Zinnia from maybe executing him.
Same here. I did the same thing.
Yes. And speaking of Zinnia, he's quite cold and loyal, but also gives off these tsundere vibes. Very much so. I wanted to ask, he seems like the kind of man who hides his feelings. Tell us a bit more about his relationship with Rosea.
Okay, so yeah, Zinnia is my absolute favorite. I just want to just hug him. Yeah, this man is a mess. He comes from a very, I don't want to give too much away, but he comes from a very violent background. Family was torn apart. So it's really shaped his view of the world in a very cold way. And you see how it plays out with his violence. But he's a very kind person deep down, and he's hard on Rosea because he just wants the best for her. He wants her to succeed, to do well. So it's one of those tough love situations. Like, come on, you idiot! I didn't tell you to do that. Like, do it this way. This is the right way, kind of thing. And he's really loyal to the church too. There's a reason behind that as well. It's a little bit touched upon in the prologue if you get the right answers, but still not going to give too much away. But yeah, his coldness, if he does like you, you'll know it. If he doesn't like you, you'll know it. He'll probably cut you up. Yeah, he's fun. And but Rosea, as his route, I write his route out, you'll see that he helps her by toughening her up, to handle difficult emotional, problems that come along. And then she helps him out by giving him the softness that he didn't ever have. Rosea is pretty much going to be the shoulder that he's allowed to cry on, where he can be vulnerable. And you'll see it play out naturally over time.
So
Very
they both
cute.
give each other something the other is desperately in need of.
Yes.
Very good. Very, very good. Well, he did some great job in writing those love interests. It's quite hard to choose, honestly. Like, at least I know who I don't want to choose, but we're not gonna talk about him right now.
Okay.
This creepy guy. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I have a little bit of a hint.
Like, I kind of want to discuss that as well, but at the same time, it's quite unpleasant for me. So if you have any comments on him, you can share some. Maybe, yeah.
I'll just go in because it's funny because it's like, from what I heard, it's either you love him or you hate him. There's no in between. All right. So if no one knows what we're talking about a pastel hyacinth, okay? And this man, okay, let me just say this. In the beginning, he was meant to be one of the love interests because it was meant to be 5 in total, but I had to make a difficult decision to kind of bench him, put him to the side, mostly for the workload and also because of the structure of the game I was going for with the 2 major story routes and 2 flower boys each. I thought it made more sense to just cut him out for now. And it's funny how that turned out because I guess he realized that, oh, okay, so I don't have a chance with Rosea anymore. All right. And then he was always obsessive with her, but he kind of just got crazier as time went on. So,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah. About that. Isn't he quite older than her, or it just felt like that?
Oh, could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just asking. Isn't he quite older than her, or?
Oh
just
no, they're
left that
nearly the
impression?
same age. Yeah, a few
Okay.
years older.
Yeah. So it's not as weird as I thought it is.
Yeah.
So I didn't like this guy. Like, he actually in the moment Rosea went to try on the dress, and they were on their own, and he sudden emotional. I don't even know how to explain that. Well, he kind of invaded her personal space, and I really didn't like that. And I was like, this guy is up to something very bad.
Yeah. And that was something that I kept in from the very beginning of the story, and that was meant to be some commentary too. It was meant to be because I want to give a feeling of like helplessness a little bit to Rosea, to where it's kind of like she feels like she's being pushed around in her duties, like she doesn't have much wiggle room to do what she really wants. And I kind of wanted to like emphasize that and add to that by, there's those situations like when there's women in the workplace and then there's a boss that comes and, like harasses them, and you kind
Yeah.
of just aren't allowed to say anything about it, or is not take it seriously. You kind of just got to suck it up and deal with it. I wanted to add that that's exactly what that scene was supposed to do. Say, oh, this is the apostle. I'm not really allowed to say anything, him touching me like this. I just gotta go with it. Yeah, so I'm glad you got the exact reaction that I was going for. So yeah.
Yep. I could say that you did a great job on that, even though I didn't like it. Like I had my very strong opinion about that. So we talked a little bit about the characters, and now it's time for the visual elements. I always love to talk about these elements. So the art style of Belle Maiden's bloom is so soft and dreamy. From the delicate character sprites to the flower and the food art, by the way, I paid attention to the food. Like, it's very important in the story.
Yes.
What was your idea for the visual identity of the game?
Yes, I just wanted to go with, I wanted to have the whole field just be soft, to just constantly remind you. Because again, this is kind of like, I'm giving myself the Disney princess movie with the black girl that I never got to get as a child. And I always wanted to see, I love the Disney art style, and I love the soft colors. It's also inspired by shoujo animes too, and the mangas, that they always had like a soft feel to them too. So I took a lot of inspiration from that as well. I just wanted a light and airy, princessy, dreamlike feel for the entire thing, so that you feel like a princess. You feel like a soft princess. And also one more element. There's also a lot of it's vivid and pops as well, you know. And that inspiration came from the Nintendo games I grew up with, because their worlds were always vivid and full of life. So I wanted to add that to my story as well.
Especially see now that you mentioned Nintendo, yeah, it really is quite full of color and almost pastel looking.
Yes.
Also, so while we're on the topic of colors and beautiful things, so each character among the love interests represents a particular flower, and I'm curious, did you choose the flowers due to some kind of real world meaning behind them?
Well, I will say that I did look into like the language of flowers, like what they mean, certain flowers mean when you give them to people. But it didn't have a big effect on it, no. I kind of just looked at a whole bunch of different flowers, because I love flowers, and decided, you know, this flower suits this person and this flower suits that person. Like with Gladiolus, I thought it was very soft and somewhat feminine and elegant and beautiful, and I thought that would kind of bring out his personality. And Dianthus, I chose the black Dianthus because it felt strong and soft at the same time. You know, that's kind of the theme I went with. The flowers just spoke to me, and then I assigned them to each of the flower boys.
So you kind of made your own meanings for
Yes.
each of them.
Nice. That's so nice. And as you said, you love flowers, right? Judging that you made a whole religion about them. So it's a personal question now. Which is your favorite flower?
Oh, there's no way I can answer that. I'll
This is the most complicated question so far.
Right. I'll say this. If it's pink, I love you, okay? Because that's my favorite color.
Cute. Well, so I guess, let me think about pink flowers. There's roses that are pink, and there's this little garden flowers that look like, how are they
I know
called?
what you're talking about.
The dog heads. That's what we used to call them.
I think they're snapdragons in English.
Snapdragons.
Yeah.
Those are pretty.
We call them doggies, like puppies.
I never heard them called that. That's interesting.
It's
In our country. That's how Grandma told me about these flowers, and I used to pick up them and role play like little puppies talking to each other. So I love them as well. I love flowers a lot.
They
And I
used
have
to even grow
plenty.
randomly near the streets in my city at some places.
Yeah. Imagine a world where flowers don't exist. It's gonna be very boring.
No, don't even joke like that.
Okay, fun fact. Flowers evolved a few million years ago. I think maybe I'll lie to you exactly when, but the planet used to just have vegetation with no flowers for a very long time. Most dinosaurs did not see flowers.
Oh,
Wow.
so
Okay,
at some
happy.
point, the universe just gave us flowers and like, here's some beauty in your everyday life. Enjoy it.
Yeah, it was around the time when insects became more diverse, I believe.
Wow.
Oh, it makes sense. You're full of this random trivia, Morek.
I
love
love
that.
prehistoric facts.
So, I think we're moving to the final part of our interview. See you, Morik.
Yes. So, have there been any standout messages or moments that made you realize just how much this game resonated with people? Like any fan letters or anything like that?
Well, at this point, I haven't received a whole lot of feedback because it's still pretty new. But I know, Blurty Otome, her blog, she wrote an article about this game, and I was just, wow, I was just blown away by it because pretty much everything she was saying is like, did she just take everything out of my head and just slap it on the computer screen? Because like a lot of her sentiments are like the exact same as mine. I can see it, and it's validating to actually hear from other Black girls who feel neglected in this space, you know, finally feel like, oh yeah, you guys exist too and deserve a little bit of romance, you know. That's been nice, and very encouraging. So yeah, that meant a lot to me, and I'm gonna keep moving forward.
She's
Yeah.
doing some amazing reviews, by the way. So
Yes, we do read up on her from time to time.
So, so let's get to the exclusive content questions. You sent us a little bit interesting work in progress sketches and stuff. I can see that there's clams, crystal thing situation going on there. Can you please help me out and explain what's going on this
Okay.
CG?
Yeah, so for this picture here, it was meant, the whole scene that this is going to play out with is meant to emphasize Clem's like intellectual side. I guess I'm giving it away, spoiler, but like he's an alchemist, right? So he uses the crystal cores to make medicines. And even though he looks super silly and fun-loving on the outside, which he is, he's also very serious and a very serious intellectual who studies these cores and tries to improve the medicines he makes and tries to create new medicines. So yeah, this picture, he's just holding up a crystal core, you know, examining it, seeing what's the deal with this one, you know, because he wants to figure out how the cores are being corrupted, you know. And so he's getting a whole bunch of samples so he can see what's going on with them. So yeah, that's what this sketch is about.
By the way, he looks very handsome with glasses.
Yes, I know. That was intentional. I
Yeah,
said, let's
smart
put glasses on
boy.
him.
It's IQ plus 20 every time someone puts glasses on. And I will put on the screen the other early sketches that you sent us.
Okay.
And looking at one of the Rosea sketches, I just remembered a fun fact that I wanted to tell you. So the flower she has on her back is called bellflower, right?
Yes.
So it's a funny coincidence, but in our culture and our language, this flower goes by the name of the Maiden steer.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
It's actually perfect.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow.
Yeah, always people connected to some gentle, very female themes and stuff like that. We have plenty of children's stories about this flower. I remember a particular one about a bird that was left. The mother of the bird left it because its wing was broken or something. I'm just having a hard time remembering it. And she flew away, but from her tears, this flower grew, and the little bird was able to survive the winter because the bird drank the water out of the flower or something. Having really hard time to remember the exact thing, but it was a beautiful story, and I love this flower, and I love the whole team around it. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
That's beautiful.
So thank you for everything you did and the beautiful game. Actually, I wanted to ask one last question before we wrap up. Is this your first game?
Yes, it certainly is, and I've just been stumbling along the past few months trying to figure out what in the world I'm doing, to make it a reality.
That's
Good
actually quite
job.
impressive for a first
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Extremely
really?
impressive. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Good job. You're doing a great job. Keep going. The game is gonna be just perfect when it finishes. I'm absolutely sure, because you're writing with such a passion. And
Yes, thank you.
I hope you keep making games in the future. And yeah, I really love when people were going after their passion projects.
Well, that means a lot to me, more than you might realize, really. I appreciate that.
So before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to say to our listeners?
I just want to thank you for checking out this twisted, flowery adventure. The Flower Boys, they're ready to meet you. So thank you.
Thank you as well. And for joining us today. It was truly a pleasure talking about Bell Maiden's Bloom.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
Welcome.
And to everyone listening, go play Bell Maiden's Bloom. Leave a rating, drop a comment, support the project. She deserves it. These stories bloom best with love. And until next time, stay soft. Remember that every flower deserves love.